The envelope lay on the kitchen table like a venomous snake coiled in wait, its crisp white paper glowing under the harsh fluorescent light. My hands trembled as I tore it open, the sound of ripping paper echoing like a gunshot in the empty house. Petition for dissolution of marriage, the header screamed in bold, unfeeling type. Sarah's signature, elegant looping, the same one she'd used on our wedding vows 10 years ago, stared back at me, dated yesterday. Yesterday, the day I buried my mother and learned I'd inherited her entire estate. The house, the stocks, the cash reserves totaling over $5 million. My chest tightened, a vice of fury and disbelief crushing my lungs. She thought she hit the jackpot. But as I crumpled the papers in my fist, a cold resolve ignited in my gut. I'd make her regret every calculated smile, every whispered lie. I staggered back, slamming into the counter, the edge biting into my hip like a dull knife. The kitchen smelled of her lavender dish soap and the faint citrus of her perfume lingering from breakfast. Just hours ago, she'd held my hand at the funeral, her fingers warm against my clammy skin, murmuring condolences that now rang hollow. "I'm here for you, Mark," she'd said, her green eyes misty. Liar. The inheritance call from the lawyer had come right after the service, in the parking lot under a drizzling sky. I'd told her immediately, my voice breaking with grief and shock. Her hug had felt tighter then, her breath quickening against my neck. Excitement. Greed. How long had she been planning this? Pacing the linoleum floor, worn from years of our shared footsteps, I replayed our life in flashes. We met in college, two broke kids scraping by on ramen and dreams. I dropped out to care for Mom when her Alzheimer's hit, working dead-end jobs while Sarah climbed the corporate ladder at her marketing firm. She always said she loved my selflessness, but now those words twisted into mockery. Had it all been a facade? The late nights she claimed were client dinners, the new designer bags that appeared without explanation. I chalked it up to her success, proud of her. Fool. My phone buzzed, her text. "Staying at Mom's tonight. Need space after today. Love you. Love." The word burned like acid. I hurled the phone across the room. It skittered under the fridge, screen cracking like my fracturing world. That night, sleep evaded me. The king-sized bed a vast, empty ocean where her side still held the indent of her body. My mind raced through denial's labyrinth. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe grief had pushed her to this. But deep down, resentment festered, a black seed sprouting roots. I imagined confronting her, screaming until my throat rawed. But no, that would be too easy. She wanted half. I'd give her nothing but ashes. By dawn, exhaustion blurred into obsession. I called the lawyer, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "Tell me about the prenup," I said. We'd signed one impulsively before the wedding, her idea to protect us both. It stipulated that inheritances remained separate property. She probably forgot, or assumed I'd never enforce it. The lawyer's office was a sterile cage of mahogany and leather, the air thick with the scent of old books and fresh coffee. Mr. Hargrove, bespectacled and paternal, leaned back in his chair. "Mark, the prenup is ironclad. Your mother's estate is yours alone. But divorce proceedings could get ugly. Alimony, assets acquired during marriage." I nodded, feigning calm while inside humiliation boiled. Ugly. She'd made our marriage a transaction. "What if I contest nothing?" asked, testing the waters. His eyebrows rose. "You could, but why?" I smiled thinly. "Strategy." As I left, the city buzzed around me, horns blaring, pedestrians rushing like ants, but I felt detached, a ghost plotting in the shadows. Sarah called that afternoon, her voice honeyed with false concern. "Mark, honey, we need to talk." I gripped the phone, knuckles whitening. "About the papers." Silence stretched, taut as a wire. "How did you?" "Look, it's not what you think. I've been unhappy for a while. The inheritance. It's just timing." Timing. The word ignited fury, but I swallowed it, letting resentment simmer. "Unhappy? You never said." Her sigh was theatrical. "You've been so focused on your mom. I felt alone. Lies layered on lies. I pictured her in her mother's guest room, plotting her escape with half my fortune. "Come home tonight," I said evenly. "We'll discuss it civilly." She agreed, hesitation in her tone. But let her wonder. When she walked in that evening, the door clicking shut like a trap springing, the house felt charged. She looked flawless, hair swept up, makeup subtle, but her eyes darted, avoiding mine. We sat at the table, the divorce papers between us like a loaded gun. "Mark, I still care about you," she began, reaching for my hand. I pulled away, the touch repulsive now. "Care? Or care about the money?" Her face flushed, but she recovered quickly. "That's unfair. We've grown apart. I deserve to be happy." Deserve. The word fueled my obsession. And the timing. Mom dies, I inherit, and poof, divorce. She leaned forward, voice dropping. "It's coincidence. But yes, the money changes things. We can split amicably." Amicably. I forced a nod, masking the storm inside. "Fine. But let's take time. No rush." She smiled, relieved. Full. That night, as she slept beside me, I lay awake, guilt flickering amid the rage. Was I becoming the monster? No, this was justice. Days blurred into a haze of feigned normalcy. I went through motions, cooking dinners, sharing laughs that tasted like ash. But inwardly, denial cracked, revealing heartbreak's jagged edges. Mornings, I'd stare at our wedding photo on the mantel. Her radiant smile now a dagger. How had I missed the signs? The whispered phone calls, the sudden interest in my mom's finances. Resentment grew, obsessive thoughts looping. Fantasies of exposing her, ruining her career, leaving her penniless. But doubt crept in. Was revenge worth my soul? I confided in no one. Isolation amplifying the turmoil. At work, my cubicle felt like a prison. Colleagues chatter, distant noise. "You okay, Mark?" my boss asked. "Yeah, just grieving." Half-truth. Grief for Mom mingled with betrayal's poison. One evening, rifling through her drawer for aspirin, I found the evidence. A burner phone tucked under scarves. Texts from Alex. "Can't wait to be free. The inheritance seals it." Alex. Her boss. Heart pounding, I scrolled. Months of messages, intimate, scheming. Once he signs, we'll have it all. Humiliation surged, hot and blinding. I photographed everything, hands shaking, then replaced it. That night, over wine, I probed subtly. Work going well. Alex still demanding. She stiffened, then laughed. "Always. Why?" "Just curious." Tension crackled, unspoken accusations hanging like smoke. She changed the subject, but I saw fear in her eyes. But the slow burn began. I hired a private investigator discreetly, paying from Mom's preliminary funds. His report arrived via encrypted email. Photos of Sarah and Alex at lunches, hotels. Proof of the affair spanning a year. Heartbreak deepened, layered with guilt. Had my devotion to Mom driven her away? But no, betrayal was her choice. I pored over the images in the dim glow of my laptop, alone in the basement, the concrete floor cold under my feet. Obsession took root. I'd dismantle her world piece by piece. First the prenup. I'd remind her subtly, watch her panic. Then expose the affair to her firm, anonymous tip. Moral conflict gnawed. Was this justice or vengeance? I pushed it down, resolve hardening like steel. Weeks passed in calculated quiet. I transferred assets offshore. Legal loopholes the lawyer suggested. Sarah grew impatient, nagging about signing papers. "Mark, let's move on." Her voice edged with frustration. I smiled inwardly. Soon. Suspense built in small ways. Mysterious calls I took in private, her eavesdropping. One night she confronted me. "What's going on? You're different." I met her gaze, suppressed rage bubbling. "Grieving, remember?" She backed off, but doubt shadowed her features. Innerly, fear mixed with my plan. What if she fought dirty? But resentment won. The hook had sunk deep. Now the real began. As the court date loomed, I feigned breakdown. Tears over dinner, vulnerability to lure her in. "I can't lose you too," I whispered. She softened, hugging me, but her embrace felt mechanical. "We can still be friends." Friends. The word twisted the knife. That night, I slipped the burner phone evidence into her purse, anonymous note attached. "I know." Let her paranoia fester. Morning came. She left early, flustered. I followed at a distance, watching her meet Alex in a cafe. Their heads close, arguing. Satisfaction bloomed, cold and sweet. But guilt whispered, "You're enjoying this too much." The first crack in her facade appeared at our mediation session. The mediator, a stern woman with wire-rimmed glasses, laid out terms. I mentioned the prenup casually. Sarah's face paled, eyes widening. "What? That old thing." Her laugh was forced. "It's enforceable," the lawyer confirmed. She stormed out, slamming the door, the sound reverberating like thunder. Alone in the parking lot, rain slicking the asphalt, I felt a thrill, revenge's first taste. But heartbreak lingered, a hollow ache. Was this enough? Well, the pursuit intensified. Back home, confrontation brewed. She arrived furious, slamming cabinets, the clatter of dishes like gunfire. "You tricked me," she yelled. I stood calm, arms crossed. "Tricked? Like you tricked me with Alex." Her mouth gaped, shock raw. "How?" "Doesn't matter." Dialogue sharpened, revealing depths. "I loved you once," she spat, tears streaking mascara. "But you chose your mom over me." Truth stung, layering guilt. "And you chose money and him." Suppressed rage erupted. We screamed accusations, voices hoarse. But I held back the full plan, letting suspense simmer. As she packed a bag, vowing to fight, I whispered, "You'll lose everything." Her exit left silence, heavy with promise. Isolation deepened my obsession. Nights, I drive aimlessly, city lights blurring through rain-streaked windows, plotting next moves. Anonymous email to her firm about the affair. Conflict of interest. Doubt assailed. Was I crossing into cruelty? Moral grayness enveloped me. Revenge felt justified, yet tainted. Fantasies shifted. From financial ruin to emotional devastation. What if I seduced her back, only to shatter her? Too risky. Stick to the plan. The investigator uncovered more. Sarah had been siphoning joint funds, small amounts to a secret account. Humiliation renewed, fueling cold resolve. I froze the accounts, her cards declining at stores. Petty but effective. Her calls came frantic. "What did you do?" "Protecting what's mine." Tension rose, her voice cracking. "Please, Mark. Let's talk." I agreed to meet neutral ground. A park bench under skeletal trees. Autumn leaves crunching underfoot. She looked haggard, makeup failing to hide shadows under eyes. "I made a mistake," she pleaded. "Alex was nothing." But her vulnerability stirred pity, conflicting with rage. "Too late," I said, walking away. Inside, turmoil raged. Heartbreak versus vengeance. As part one closed, the slow burn peaked. I prepared the final strike, evidence compiled, lawyers briefed. But a twist loomed. Guilt over mom's fortune, meant for good, now weaponized. Was I honoring her or desecrating? The question haunted, setting stage for retaliation's storm. The anonymous tip landed like a grenade in her office. I imagined the scene. HR summoning her. The conference room's glass walls reflecting her paling face as emails and photos were presented. Conflict of interest, affair with the boss. Grounds for termination. She called that night, voice shattered. "You did this. How could you?" I leaned against the counter, the phone cool against my ear, suppressing a surge of dark satisfaction. "Me. Sounds like karma." Her sob echoed, raw and broken. "Please, Mark. I have nothing left." Nothing. The word echoed my own emptiness, but resentment drowned pity. "You thought you hit the jackpot. Guess not." I hung up, the click final, but inside obsession clawed. Had I gone too far? Days turned to weeks of legal skirmishes, the courtroom a battlefield of polished wood and echoing footsteps. Sarah appeared gaunt, her lawyer a shark-eyed man arguing for spousal support. My client sacrificed her career for the marriage, he intoned. Sacrificed. I nearly laughed, but held composure, my own attorney dismantling it with bank records of her siphoning. Her eyes met mine across the room, pleading turned to hatred. During recess, in the hallway's sterile fluorescence, she cornered me. Why destroy me? Her whisper hissed like steam. Because you destroyed us. Dialogue cut deep, revealing her layers. Regret mingled with defiance. I was lonely, Mark. You were always with her. Guilt flickered. Had I neglected her? But betrayal's scar-hardened resolve. Lonely enough to steal. She turned away, shoulders slumping. Nights alone amplified inner conflict. The house, once our sanctuary, now echoed with ghosts. Her laughter in the halls, Mom's frail voice on old voicemails. I'd pour scotch, the amber liquid burning my throat, fueling fantasies of alternate paths. Forgiveness, reconciliation. But humiliation resurfaced, texts mocking my pathetic devotion. Revenge demanded completion. I delved deeper, uncovering Alex's marriage. An anonymous package to his wife with evidence. Petty. Justified. In my twisted logic, absolutely. Moral grayness consumed me. I stared at the mirror, seeing a stranger. Eyes hollow, jaw set in cold determination. Suspense built in subtle escalations. Sarah's pleas turned desperate. Emails begging for mercy, voicemails cracking with tears. I'll drop the divorce if you help me. Too late. I ignored them, but each twisted the knife of guilt. One evening, a knock shattered the quiet. She stood on the porch, rain-soaked, mascara running like black rivers. Let me in. Please. I hesitated, heart pounding, then stepped aside. The door shut with a thud, sealing us in tension's cocoon. She dripped on the foyer rug, shivering. I never meant for this. Her voice broke. Alex manipulated me. Promised promotions. Layers peeled. Not just greed but vulnerability. Doubt surged. Was she the villain or we both? And the money. Pressed. She collapsed onto the couch, sobs racking her frame. I was scared. Thought you'd leave me poor. Authentic emotion clashed with my rage. Heartbreak resurfaced, layered with resentment. We talked through the night, candles flickering shadows on walls, the air thick with regret's scent. Remember our honeymoon? She whispered, hand brushing mine. Electricity sparked, old love flickering amid ashes. But suppressed rage simmered. Before you planned my ruin. Her eyes widened. I didn't wait, how do you know? I revealed the burner phone, watching her crumble. It was insurance, she admitted. In case. The confession fueled obsession's fire. As dawn broke, gray light filtering through curtains, she begged forgiveness. We can start over. Temptation warred with resolve. Inner thoughts churned. Could I trust? This was the trap. I nodded feigned agreement. Maybe. Let her hope. The ploy worked. She withdrew the petition, citing reconciliation efforts. But I pressed forward secretly, finalizing asset protections. Tension rose in domestic pretense. Dinners where smiles masked daggers, nights sharing the bed with backs turned. Her touches felt probing, seeking weakness. One afternoon, sorting Mom's attic, I found letters. Her correspondence with Sarah, pleading for more time together. He's a good man but lost in duty. Mom's words stung, layering guilt. Had I failed them both? Moral conflict peaked. Revenge felt hollow, yet unstoppable. The dramatic payoff approached. I invited her to dinner at our favorite Italian spot, candlelit tables humming with murmurs. She arrived hopeful, dress-hugging curves I'd once adored. To new beginnings, I toasted, clinking glasses. Wine flowed, conversation easing into nostalgia. But midway, I slid an envelope across. Divorce papers, my signature bold. Her face drained. What? My turn. Shock rippled. She scanned, realizing the prenup's enforcement. Alimony denied due to adultery proof. You tricked me, she gasped. Like you did. Waitstaff glanced over, tension thick as fog. Outside, under street lamps casting golden pools, she confronted me, fury unleashing. You'll regret this. But as she stormed off, a car pulled up, Alex waiting. My investigator hadn't mentioned reconciliation with him. Suspicion ignited. I followed discreetly, tailing to a motel. Peering through blinds, heart hammering, I saw them argue, then plot. We'll sue for fraud, Alex said. Claim emotional abuse. Hidden motives revealed. Not just affair, but conspiracy to drain me post-divorce. Rage transformed to cold calculation. Back home I hacked her email. Skills from old IT days. Finding their scheme. Falsified documents, bribed witnesses. Obsession crested. This was war. I countered anonymously, tipping authorities to Alex's embezzlement at the firm. Evidence from my PI. Days later news broke. Arrests for fraud. Sarah implicated, her world collapsing. The twist struck like lightning. In court for final divorce, she took the stand, broken but defiant. He drove me to it, she claimed. But my lawyer presented Mom's will, altered clause. Half the fortune to charity if betrayal proven. Mom knew. A letter enclosed. Son, protect your heart. I saw her greed. Shock floored me. Mom's foresight, her quiet suspicion during visits. Poetic justice. Sarah got nothing, charity thriving. But as she wept, unexpected consequences hit. My victory tasted bitter, isolation profound. In the end, alone with the fortune, guilt overwhelmed. Revenge delivered, but at what cost? Heartbreak lingered, a scar. I scattered Mom's ashes at dawn, waves crashing like applause. Thanks, Mom, I whispered. Resolve faded to reflection. Betrayal birthed a new man. Wiser, wary, forever changed.